like. Okay, the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is learn your local housing authority rules. Every local housing authority has their own laws, rules, compliances, regulations. Get to know them. You can just peruse the website. You can make a phone call. Most authorities do want you to take a landlord certification class, and a lot of times the instructor there, you can build a relationship with the instructor, and ask deeper questions beyond what they're going to teach you in that training. But the website is there, so there's absolutely no reason for you to get into Section 8 investing and not have the information about your specific area, because it's right online. You can also pop everything in real estate investing. So my first tip that I wish I would have done is getting to know the housing authority personally and thoroughly. Okay, tip number two, just based on some mistakes that I've made, you need to identify the right market. I thought going in that I should just buy in like these C, D grade neighborhoods, and that will give me the best bang for my buck. And it wasn't until a couple of years later where I started investing in like, suburban areas right outside of the big city that were much nicer neighborhoods. And what I found was you could still find really good deals, houses that are not super expensive, and get the Section 8 rents, which are pretty high. And the good thing about that, at least in my experience, is now you're not in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. Maybe your tenant is, at the poverty level or, low income, but everyone around them is flourishing because it's a suburban neighborhood. So that's better for you, your property appreciation, and your tenant and their children, right? The environment that they're going to grow up in. And it did not impact my cash flow. I was still able to find good deals and get the nice high FMR rents via Section 8. So if I could do it all over again, I would not have pigeonholed myself to, one market or the other. I would have taken the time to get to know other markets. But beyond that, just make sure you are in a landlord-friendly state. That is going to make all of the difference in the world, in terms of if you ever have to go through the eviction process. The next thing that I would have done is I would have built my team from the beginning. When you're doing your first one or two houses, you are going to be pretty hands-on, and you should be. That's where you're going to have the biggest learning curve. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail, and that's a good thing. That's where the lessons are. But after that, you really should start thinking about how you can delegate or how you can give off tasks to other people who may be better at it than you. Look, no one's on here saying we're smarter than you, right? I am not smarter than you. You can watch every single video that I have and learn everything that I know, but I am more experienced than you. I do have better contacts, a better network, access to crews with more experience, simply because I've been doing this longer. So anyone with a half of a brain should want to hire people that are more experienced than them, that are smarter than them. I wish I would have done that. I, got into the YouTube university and buying all these courses and things like that to learn things that I really should not have been learning. For instance, property management. Property management usually charges between 9 and 11% of the rents, and that is a very small price to pay for the headaches that I don't have to have by having a property manager or having a person who can do a pre-inspection for you. So usually, we learned this lesson the hard way, but anyway, we ended up finding a contractor who used to work for Section 8 as an inspector. And he would come out and do a pre-inspection of our properties. That way we were more likely to pass, or, more likely to only have small little things to fix, versus having to put a whole bunch of money into trying to meet the requirements or the compliance, of the inspection. So my point is, make sure you are building a team along the way. If you are a solopreneur or you're going to be hiring virtual assistants or something like that, then just remember to have standard operating procedures. So if you're going to be doing your own property management, let's say for instance, okay, document your processes, turn them into like a training manual, or it could just be, a document that you can send off. That way, if you're going to hire a virtual assistant for like $5 an hour, well, they can literally take over the property management because you've written out everything that they need to do, and you have a system in which they can work and do it. So that would be my advice. Get a team. Financing and funding. Again, lots of mistakes along the way that I've made. Obviously, a lot of the properties that I did in the beginning were like owner financing, mortgage takeovers, and things like that. But once I started buying in a bit more volume, I had to be more open-minded to other people's money or, going through lenders. And some things that I learned along the way is every lender is not made equally. Okay, so there are some lenders that we use because they can finance properties as low as 50K. They have in-house financing. They have lenders who are open to, loaning such a small amount. But the majority of other lenders, some don't even like to go below 100K. So if I have a property that's 100K plus, and I know, okay, these are the lenders I might want to work with. And if I have a property that's between 50 and 75K, I'm like, okay, these are the lenders I might want to work with. If I find a property less than 50K, then I'm probably going to go and look into other people's money because it's going to be very hard for me to find a lender who will go that low. Also, remember there's different types of loan products, right? So DSCR is very popular in the Section 8 investing niche, but that's not the only loan product available. I have a lender, I'm telling you, every time I speak to her, I can't believe all of the different products that they have available for investors. So she's kind of like, if all else fails and I can't find a way to make it work, I call her and she finds a way to make it work. But I would not have found her or anyone else had I not made some mistakes in the beginning and started to learn, okay, I need to make sure I have some guidelines for each lender that I work with and why, and really doing like a cost analysis, right? One lender might have a higher interest rate, but they don't want any points up front. Another one might give me a great interest rate, but they want more points up front. And based on the price of the house and what my goals are with the cash flow, I really have to take these things into account. So really focus on your financing and your lenders and make them work for you. Pick the product that works for you instead of trying to stuff what you want to do into whatever it is that they may have available. Okay, getting started. I will say I had a life hack. My mentor, all she did exclusively were Section 8 properties. So when I got my first Section 8 property, all the things that she was teaching me was exactly what I needed to know because that's what she did. So I would suggest that to anyone. If you're going to get into Section 8, start out with one little test property, but get somebody who knows what they're doing, for goodness sakes, because it's really not that hard when you've done it, over and over and over and over and over. Get a mentor, get a coach, get a somebody, and not just a course. Nothing wrong with the course. A course is good for supplemental information, but there's nothing like another human that you can call and say, hey, XYZ just happened. What am I supposed to do? Or having a mentor that's proactive. Hey, you just finished the inspection. Did you make sure that you collected the other half of the deposit? Some things you just need a person to help you through. For me, if you're going to partner with me or go with me for consulting, I'm going to tell you I'm a little bit different. Okay. If you go with me for consulting, the first house, I'm taking the lead. I'm going to be holding your hand and bringing you along the way, but I'm taking the lead because I feel like you need to see how it should be done first. Now, the second property, I will let you fumble around a little bit because you do need to learn. You need to make some mistakes. You need to fail. You need to see what it really feels like. And then house number 3, I'm just refining based on what I saw you do in property number 2. I'm saying, okay, maybe you weren't that good at building relationships with your contractors. So now I have to make sure that you're vetting contractors consistently and that you have a team by the time our time together is over. But anyway, what I'm saying is get with somebody who knows what they are doing, especially now, like where a lot of local authorities are, housing authorities are having all of these new compliance laws and the cities are having all of these new ordinances. You need somebody who is in the game and knows how to navigate these new waters that are new for all of us. So that would be my advice. Those are my tips based on some mistakes that I've made in the past with Section 8. And hopefully this prevents you from making them. Okay, now I can ask for my like and subscribe because I know I just gave you some good stuff. So like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about the basics of Section 8, there is a link in the description below to a very quick, straight to the point, and very inexpensive class. It's like 40 bucks or something like that. But it's going to teach you the 5 steps to invest in Section 8 properties. And if you are ready to get started, you want me to consult you, you want to partner with me, you want to click on my Calendly link so we can have a real conversation about your goals and to see how I can help you meet them. Okay, until next time, I will see you later.